KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson celebrating the 75th liberation with the people of Guam. Biba Guam. Cars Plus, reminding you to put your phone down while driving. Distractions won't get you there. Heads Up Guam. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And steaks, ribs, seafood, and our famous fresh garden bar, Ruby Tuesday. Good times you can taste.
On prime time now, the manor was ruled as a homicide and an autopsy is conducted on the shooting victim, Keith Castro. Plus, health insurance carrier Take Care files a pair of lawsuits challenging the GovGuam bid process. And how much has the 35th legislature racked up in travel? Chris Barnett crunches the numbers.
Hafa and good evening, everyone. An autopsy has been completed on 33-year-old Keith Castro, the man found beaten and shot at a home in Jigo last month. A coroner's examination conducted Sunday confirmed the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the torso, explains GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau.
The manor was ruled as a homicide. Now, our investigators continue to work at tying up loose ends relative to this investigation. We want to protect the integrity of the investigation. As we move forward, anything new that develops from this investigation, we will report out to the community.
GPD has made 2 arrests in the case. Bail was set at $500,000 for Joshua Palacios, the man charged with allegedly pulling the trigger, and bail was set at $100,000 for defendant Thomas Titano, accused of beating Castro with a baton. The 2 were scheduled for a preliminary hearing tomorrow, but it's been canceled according to the court calendar. Health insurance carrier Take Care filed a pair of lawsuits today challenging the GovGuam health insurance bid process. Among the arguments, that a requirement to include private hospital GRMC in its coverage violates the Constitution. One lawsuit was filed in the Superior Court, the other in Federal District Court. At the center of both complaints is a public law passed earlier this year that requires bidders for the lucrative GovGuam health contract to include all civilian hospitals in their network coverage. Take Care and GRMC have long been at odds over various business issues, and Take Care has never had an agreement with a private hospital. In its complaint before the federal court, Take Care argues that a mandate to carry GRMC is a violation of its 5th and 14th Amendment rights to due process and equal protection under the law. In the local court complaint, the insurance company argued that an OPA decision to reject its procurement protest as untimely also violates those same constitutional rights. Speaker Tina Barnes was the author of the law requiring all hospitals to be included in the GovGuam health insurance contract. In a statement, Barnes said, quote, "The protest was already rejected by the OPA, and I feel confident continued appeals will meet the same fate." She goes on to say, quote, "The truth is that every customer has a legal right to determine the benefits they will pay for, even when that customer is the government of Guam. This law sends a simple message. No one covered by GovGuam insurance should go bankrupt with uncovered medical costs just because they went to the wrong hospital." Senators have racked up $33,000 in official travel so far this term. And just who is the legislature's most frequent flyer? Chris Barnett has more.
$33,000 in travel costs for senators in the 35th Guam legislature, and that's so far in this term. According to travel documents provided by the legislature, 10 official trips have cost you, the taxpayers, $32,951. Your taxpayer dollars used for travel to Majuro, Saipan, Nashville, Tennessee, and Washington, D.C. While some senators have flown solo, birds of a feather do fly together, as 4 senators spent $20,000 attending the National Conference of State Legislators meeting from August 3rd through the 10th in Nashville, Tennessee. Vice Speaker Talina Nelson and Senators Amanda Shelton, Regine Biscoe-Lee, and Telo Taitagui attended that conference. Senators Biscoe-Lee, Kelly Marsh, Titano, and Speaker Tina Munia Barnes spent $6,000 to attend the Association of Pacific Island Legislatures General Assembly in Majuro from July 23rd to the 27th. Now, it should be noted that senatorial travel clocks in at less than a third of what senior staffers, the governor, and the lieutenant governor at Adelup have spent on travel so far this year. So, which of your senators is the most frequent flyer? Well, it's close. Senator Shelton has spent $8,879 on 2 stateside trips, but Senator Lee has spent the most taxpayers' money on travel at $9,493 on 3 trips. Senator Lee telling KUAM News in a statement, "This travel is directly related to my duties as chairperson on federal and foreign affairs. I focused on crime reduction strategies and environmental protection at APIL, Medicaid disparities with DOI, the need for more efficient benefits review process for veterans with the Office of Minority Veterans, and labor policy at the NCSL. I know who I work for, and I do everything I can to keep their trust." For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Meanwhile, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio is off island again. According to Adelup spokeswoman Janela Carrera, Tenorio is traveling to San Francisco and Sacramento to meet with federal officials to, quote, discuss ways that we can improve the way that we handle our procurement processes to avoid losing federal funds or return them. Several GovGuam agency reps from GFD, GPD, and DPW are also attending the meetings and are required training on federal funds. Carrera says the Lieutenant Governor was invited to attend the meetings because he oversees the Guam State Clearinghouse, which handles federal funding for the local government. Tenorio has taken 4 official trips, totaling 31 days and $25,179, not including this latest travel. Most recently, he was off island the first weekend in August for a personal trip to the Philippines. Heavy seas and strong surf conditions have resulted in a string of near drowning and drowning incidents lately. KUAM's Adriana Cotero speaks with the fire department on water safety precautions during this time of the year.
On Friday, we had a report of a possible male individual floating in the water down in Mauricio across the Mauricio Church. Turns out that individual was a fisherman, and he was transported to Naval Hospital, CPR in progress.
And 2 days later, 2 female distressed swimmers were in the same area of the Billy Bay of Mauricio and rescued by the Guam Fire Department. According to GFD Acting PIO Cherika Chargilov, this is a popular fishing spot, but not typical for swimming. The swimmers were transported safely to shore. Following this, GFD responded to an incident in Tuman Bay.
Nico Hotel was shortly after the Mauricio Billy Bay incident, and that was a possible male tourist that was in distress over the reef line outside of the Nico Hotel.
CPR was performed en route to the Naval Hospital. In response to the several cases of drownings, distressed swimmers, and other water-related emergencies, GFD offers its sincerest condolences and prayers to the families and friends of the recent victims. However, they do not have an update on all the patients' current conditions. Officials want the public to be aware of the advisories currently in place.
For the past week and a half, we've had the weather advisory going high surf all the way till this Friday, and our waters are very inviting to go out there and enjoy. It's conditions, but right now, this time of the year, it's just really not safe to go out.
Battalion Chief for Search and Rescue Operations Roderick Menno offers this advice when entering water.
My best advice to all the locals and tourists alike is just stay within the parameters of the reef line, swim within your capabilities, and I know it's a little cumbersome, but a life jacket will definitely float. They float and we don't.
During these recent response missions, GFD had to take on the high waters, and Menno says that they had a tough time exiting the Higatnya Channel.
The vessel couldn't get out of the Agate Channel because it was a closeout. Everybody that's heading out to the waters, you're putting yourself at risk, and also you're putting the rescuers at risk. So just heed to the weather warnings and stay safe.
GFD wants everyone to keep in mind that typhoon season is just beginning. This is the time of year when winds and swells pick up and will continue throughout the remainder of the year. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
100 bottles of vape juice, a pair of sneakers, and a generator. Those are items Eugene Jerome Tidegui stole in March 2018 that were supposed to be sent through the mail. In a plea agreement, he was sentenced in district court today to 3 years of probation in order to pay some $3,200 in restitution on 1 count of mail theft. He is a first-time offender with no prior criminal record. Tidegui worked as a ramp agent with Micronesia Air Cargo, which transported U.S. mail from Guam to the CNMI. He apologized in court today saying, quote, "I'm really sorry for everything that's been done while I was working at the airport. I want to apologize to the U.S. Postal, the hard workers in mail, and my family. You won't ever see me in this court again." Jury selection for a former corrections officer charged with home invasion and kidnapping was canceled today. Instead, a change of plea hearing was scheduled for later this month. Darren Jared Carandang Cruz was accused 2 years ago of hiding in a woman's home and forcing her and a man she was with to go to another location. It's there that he brutally beat the man for hours and then threatened to kill both the man and the woman if they told the police. The woman later identified Cruz as her estranged husband and stated she had been seeking a divorce from him. The change of plea hearing is scheduled for August 22nd. GovGuam really wanted to get rid of Linda Uggan. That's what the attorney for the fired former State Historic Preservation Officer tells KUAM News. Attorney John Bell equates Uggan's firing with a witch hunt based on pettiness, calling the adverse action filed against Uggan a rambling mess. Bell says the government's case against Uggan will not hold up. It is alleged she used an official vehicle to file a grievance against Parks and Recreation Director Richard Ibanez. Bell adds Ibanez's smoking gun, a complaint that a GovGuam vehicle Uggan was riding in, not driving, went in through the exit at Chamorro Village. The complaint accuses Uggan of unauthorized use of a government vehicle for taking her staffers on a working lunch.
None of these women knew that this was supposedly unauthorized use. I mean, it would be obvious, for example, if they were just going gallivanting, running personal errands. But this was a lunch with the women of the office for the very specific purposes of team building and mending fences here.
Bell also tells us he believes Uggan was fired for doing her job.
Coming out with more artifacts. That's alarming.
Uggan's next hearing is on the merits September 17th before the Civil Service Commission. She was terminated from her position on June 18th. Bell says the complaints against Uggan would warrant at most a letter of reprimand, not termination. Uggan was critical of the military's handling of ancestral sites and artifacts, at one point saying the data recovery process will wipe Chamorro artifacts and sites, quote, off the face of the earth. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
Are you ready for some family summer fun? Sagwa Manyago is having their 5th annual Kids Carnival. Come to the Governor's Complex in Adaloop on Saturday, August 17th. Enjoy the end of summer fun from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Free admission and entertainment with children activities, music, dancing, and much more. Sagwa Manyago Carnival on August 17th at the Governor's Complex in Adaloop. Special thanks to Bank of Guam, Addis Trust and Investment, Cabo Select Care, Take Care, GTA, Stay Well, Matson, and our community sponsors.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus, and Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back. How prepared is your child for the start of the new school year? Here's Julia Santos with some tips on safety, nutrition, and what parents can do to prepare their child for success.
The new school year begins tomorrow, and for most students, their day begins at the bus shelter. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau encourages parents to be the first line of defense regarding your child's safety. He says one of the first tips is teaching them about stranger danger.
I reiterate that every day, not talking to a stranger, making better choices about who do you talk to.
Teaching them to properly cross the street is another factor of your child's safety. Some bus stops are located on Guam's busiest roadways, like this one off of Route 16.
Utilizing a crosswalk, waiting for the bus to come to a complete stop, waiting for the lights to turn on, waiting for the stop sign to be deployed, because that's the only time that you can safely venture out into the highway. Teaching the kids not to play along the sidewalk, because we see it all the time. As commuters and of course as patrol officers, kids tend to sit along the sidewalk.
His suggestion? Remind kids to stay within the bus shelter. Tapau says these are great topics of discussion to engage your children with. He recommends also that parents whose kids share a bus stop to get together and develop systems to safeguard their children.
Develop that relationship, develop a system in which you guys can both take, parents can take turn who's going to watch and everything, but understand that the responsibility, it really is on, it really falls on the adults to become the stewards and the safety of the kids here at the bus shelters.
Early to bed, early to rise helps you ensure that your child gets enough sleep and ample time to have a healthy breakfast in the morning. Nurse Jen says 2 key ingredients for a child's development are nutrition and sleep, especially since some schools will be starting as early as 6:45 a.m.
We'd like for that student to go to sleep just a little bit early to get a little bit more good quality REM sleep, so that during the day when they're at school and in their classes, they're not falling asleep, groggy, tired all the time.
Understanding it is difficult for parents to always prepare a healthy breakfast, she suggests some fruit in the morning to give them a good start.
A banana, an apple, and milk, if you can take a glass of milk or some water, but we want to try to avoid all the sugary, sweet snacks in the morning. I know 6:45 is early, but definitely let's not drink a soda for breakfast. Let's not eat a candy bar for breakfast. Let's try to instead do a nice, healthy protein bar.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Julia Santos.
There is such a thing as a free meal. Students at all 41 public schools will continue to be provided no-cost meals for the second straight year. This is made possible through GDOE's Education State Agency for Child Nutrition Programs, working with a community eligibility provision. Superintendent John Fernandez says expanding the eligibility to 100% of schools does result in slightly higher costs, which they believe it's a worthwhile investment.
When our students come into school, they're able to eat, breakfast and lunch without having to pay any money towards the meals. We've been able to do this through the community eligibility provision that was provided by the United States Department of Agriculture. And so 100% of our schools are participating, and this year we will continue to do so. So any of those parents who are wondering if their kids are going to be able to eat or if they're going to have to pay, this year their kids just need to come to school, they'll be fed, and we want to make sure that they're ready to learn when they get into the classroom.
Fernandez says there is a demand for the food options as the number of eligible students in the free breakfast and lunch program has increased significantly over the past year. The school menu can be viewed on GDOE's website under the Back to School page. For more information, call the Guam State Agency for Child Nutrition Program at 300-1263. Japan Airlines has upsized its Guam service from a 767 aircraft to a 777. It means an increase in capacity by about 30% per flight, but perhaps more importantly, a rise in confidence in the Guam route. Japan Airlines made the switch to the larger aircraft starting this month, says Assistant for Administration and Passenger Traffic Jason Mondina, in response to an increase in demand.
From a 767 to a 777, we have 113 more seats versus our 767, which had a capacity of 199. With this Boeing 777, we're now at a 312 capacity. JAL
had cut back service in recent years, and other carriers, such as Delta and All Nippon Airways, had pulled out altogether. Director of Administration Hajime Fujiwara says there's always been fluctuations, but lately they've seen signs of growth in the once dominant Japan market.
Currently, we are making an effort to visit more customers from Japan. I believe the demand has increased due to our relationship with business partners in Japan or in Guam, under Guam Business Bureau and travel agency, etc.
The airline also announced it opened a new section at the airport's Sagan Bisita Lounge for business class passengers and different tier status frequent flyers. Japan Airlines will celebrate its 50th anniversary of service to Guam next year. The Guam Visitors Bureau is offering 12 students the opportunity to attend the Instaguam Travel Talks Digital Global Summit scheduled for this Wednesday at the Dusitani Guam Resort. Students have until midnight tonight to submit an application. To qualify, you must be 18 years or older and enrolled in UOG or GCC for the fall 2019 semester with focus areas in either business, tourism, hospitality, marketing, or communications. Final selection and notifications will be made on Tuesday. The summit is the region's first premier travel technology conference. It brings together tourism industries, disruptive technology companies, and global social media influencers in a one-day event to discuss digital trends impacting the visitor experience economy. For more information, visit www.guamtraveltalks.com. Support the troops takes on some added significance this week. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has declared it Employee Support for the Guard and Reserve Week. As its name suggests, the organization's mission is to help deployed citizen soldiers with as many of their civilian responsibilities as possible so that they can focus on their military roles.
We want them to be as less stressful as possible, so worrying about their job or worrying about security for their family, I think is something that we as a community need to further enhance and commit to so that they're not over there distracted with family issues and stress.
The ESGR is a nationwide volunteer organization under the Department of Defense that fosters the relationships between service members and their civilian employers. Guam has long had the highest per capita representation in the Guard and Reserve, and hundreds of local businesses and individuals have pledged their support. The KUAM Care Force joins NBC Universal Television across the country for the Clear the Shelters pet adoption campaign. We've partnered with our local shelter, Guam Animals in Need, to help find our furry friends special homes this Saturday. As part of the effort starting today and the rest of the week, we are sharing stories of those who've given pets homes, and also we'll share you can adopt a pet.
Cats have been in Vanjie St. Nicholas's life forever.
Since I was a little kid, even tried to sneak them in at home, but my mother would always find out.
In total, she has 5 cats: Showpal, Bayview, Sassy, Smokes, which are rescues, and Twinkles, which she adopted from Gain after visiting the shelter with her daughter 9 years ago. Apparently, he was a perfect match.
We went there, and cats and dogs, they know their owners, and that is true. You can go and you'll see a whole bunch of animals, but the ones that come to you, that's the one that's for you. And that's what happened with Twinkles.
Now, aside from her fetish for felines, she's just as crazy for canines. Vanjie has 6 German Shepherds and 3 dogs she rescued. Sounds like a doggone hectic household, but with patience and support, everything's possum.
Love alone is not gonna let that animal live to its fullest potential. It really, it's a great thing to do to adopt an animal, but it's not an accessory by any means. It's not a flavor of the month. It's not the, well, my friend has one, so I'll get one too. This is a lifetime responsibility for the animal. And if you can have the support system of your family to help you with that, then both you and the animal will benefit from it.
Once again, KUAM is partnering with Gain to help find our furry friends special homes on Saturday, August 17th. Patrons of the Gain Shelter in Jigo who adopt a pet on this day between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. will be treated to free refreshments and giveaways, including gifts from Fetch and Mona Lisa Professional Dog Grooming. Coming up, Dave Delgado has your weekend roundup of sports. Please stay tuned.
Agent Alpha.
What's that? An Alpha Insurance customer needs a claim settled immediately? I'm on it.
Agent Alpha.
In the
the event of an accident, theft, or breakdown, each of our Alpha Insure agents are trained to go above and beyond.
This is my